Good day, members of the Juicy Committee. Thank you for inviting me to speak before you today. As part of your review of the admissibility of bad character evidence under the Criminal Justice Act 2003, I am to outline the key legal issue to evaluate crimes on this application and give a purpose for reform towards extending justice and fairness in criminal trials. Now I introduction the definite bad character evidence. Bad character evidence is the evidence of defendant prior misconduct, including past convocation and no convocation misconduct, which is not directly related to fact of the offender being tried. Before the Criminal Justice Act 2003, the common law position was governed by a general exclusionary rule with limited exploitation. The Criminal Justice Act 2003 reformed it ruled Section 98 to 130, creating a framework from the admission of bad character evidence. However, the proposition has drawn criticism from legal academic, politician, and human rights advocacy. And now the currently legal framework is under the CGA 2003. According to Section 98, bad character is defined as proof of wrongdoing or a propensity for it. Expand proof that is directly relevant to the ecosystem at hand. Evidence of a person's bad character is defined in this chapter as evidence of misconduct on his part or a disposition towards it, unless it relates to alleged fact of the offense and defendant exchange, which seem like the evidence of the misconduct in connection with the investigation or prosecution of that offense. All we know about Section 101, it has listed 7 gateways through which prosecution bad character evidence may be admitted. These include, first, evidence relevant to an important matter in issue between the defendant and the prosecution. Second, evidence to correct a false imputation, given by defendant. Third, evidence to explain co-defendant allegation. While intended to codify and explain clearly, the Clartists argue that this gateway particularly and calculate both first and the second, and have made it too easy for the prosecution to introduce prejudicial material. In R.V. Hassan 2005, the Court of Appeal held that a single public conviction could be enough to establish propensity, though carriage was required. Yet in Paris, some courts have admitted weak or historical evidence on the basis. Seems like the Court of Appeal observes that propensity to be untruthful is not the same as a propensity to dishonest. Therefore, the prosecution should not simply adduce evidence of probable convocation for dishonesty with explained purpose of showing the accused has a propensity for untruthfulness. And the third is about the tension between property value and prejudice. The key fundamental concerned with bad character evidence is the risk of reviewing the review. The reviews may use such evidence not to assume the fact of the current case, but to assume guilt based on past conduct. This undermines the purity of a fair trial. Lord Mayhem in RVH 2003 rightly states that evidence of betrayal has great protein from unfair prejudice and should be treated with circle presentation. However, the CGA 2003 arguably tilted the scale in favor of prosecution by noticing such admission. So, research by the New Commission 2001 and later studies such as Sherman and March James 2080 confirmed that the jury are influenced by power convocation even when directly the direct other wish by the judge. And the fourth is about academic and juicy crimes of the current law. Now, leading advocates have voiced concern. The profession David have a key commercial on the CGA 2003, and he holds the overuse of bad character evidence and the risk of criminal change become mostly judgment rather than evidence-based inquiry. In R. V. Campbell 2007, the Court of Appeal won against using bad character evidence merely to show general disposition. In practice, there is indication in the decision signs some judges promote wide evidence with limited property value, so the bad character evidence tend to have disproportionate impact on definite from like placed communicates raising question from the system bars. And the one is the comparison about the property. In some places like Canada and Germany, bad character evidence is treated in a much more careless manner. The Canadian Supreme Court in R.V. Handy 2002 this case ruled that the evidence of the type is to be inadmissible unless the probative value and overbalance the effect clearly, such as intent about the graduates and the evidence-based character of juicy. So, in this system, use Germany, poverty by provides bad contact will have little effect unless directly to the point. This is direct contract to England and Wales, where the trials can be governed by adversarial strength and story. And now is the conclusion. In conclusion, although the Criminal Justice Act 2003 was designed to demystify the law and increase the level of transparency, it arguably by providing too much leeway to the prosecution at the cost of innovations. Bad character faced, especially under the gateway, that two need to be put within confused in order to keep fairness and a gradual against of justice. I wish that the committee will view with favor the suggestion above not to preserve the criminal, but to administer justice on each special case, according to the evidence that extends with regard to the criminal allergy, rather than to character of the offendant. And now thank you for your time. I welcome any question from the community.